The story of Adele Goldberg. Adele Goldberg was born July 22nd, 1945 in Cleveland, Ohio. When Adele turned 11 years old, she and her family moved to Chicago, Illinois. At a young age, Goldberg developed an interest in math, so she majored in it at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Goldberg was at the University of Michigan for 3 years, and then for the first half of her senior year, she went to Europe. As she was seeing the wonders of Europe, she also saw that there were IBM buildings all across Europe, so she thought, wow, I can live anywhere in the world if I can learn to do something that's important to IBM. And after this experience, Goldberg thought it would be a good idea to get her bachelor's degree and then her master's degree so she could learn more about computers. So she applied for the University of Chicago and she got in. Goldberg then got a job in Michigan at the Center for Research on Learning and Teaching, working with Carl Zinn. Then, in 1967, Goldberg needed a fellowship, but couldn't for a while because no one was interning females. But this was until universities realized that they needed students because men were being drafted for World War II, and it's too bad that it took a war to get Goldberg in. Now, after this, Goldberg was at the University of Chicago. That's where she met Patrick Swoops, one of the two directors of the Institute of Mathematical Studies in the Social Sciences. And Adele asked him if she could come visit him in Stanford, and he agreed. So, after 2 years in Chicago, Goldberg got her master's degree, then went to Stanford. Then, Swoops offered her a full-time research associate job, which she gladly accepted. Following this, Goldberg met Alan Kay, which was a big turning point in her life. Alan Kay was a student at Stanford, and then he went on to work for Xerox PARC, and eventually Goldberg landed a job there too. And they worked together as colleagues. Now, during her time there, Adele Goldberg helped develop Smalltalk. Smalltalk was the name given to the software for a personal computer. And Goldberg was first introduced to Smalltalk 72, which she didn't create, as Smalltalk was already existent. Now, to Goldberg, Smalltalk 72, it was an odd language, and the job that she had was to teach it to people. The challenge given was, do you think children can learn this language, and how would you approach it? And at first, Goldberg had trouble teaching this program language because it was very difficult to read, and it was very limiting. But eventually, she was able to teach it in a way that kids could understand. After this, Smalltalk 76 was designed, and the special thing about this snapshot was that there was an implementation with the memory manager that was garbage collecting. This was because this program frequently crashed, and this was able to help recover the information. Smalltalk 78 was then created, And this was an implementation on a machine that was known as note takers. And around the time of Smalltalk 78, Goldberg and Allen gave talks and Xerox Special Information Systems in Pasadena. During these conferences, Goldberg met a photographer who showed Goldberg the use of spreadsheets and also a piece of code that he had made. Then Adele said, "This is the ugliest piece of code I have ever seen." And his response to this was that, "Oh, that's okay because it does what I want it to, and the professionals down at XSIS are gonna rewrite it all." This is when Adele started to gain interest in having customers because they told her what they needed. And then Adele and co-developers developed Smalltalk 80. This was a high-level programming language, and it was the first original pure object-oriented language, but not the first to use the object-oriented concept that was co-developed by Goldberg. For this program, Goldberg and a man named Dave Robinson published 3 books: a language book, a user interface book, which Goldberg wrote all by herself, and a book on implementation. Adele Goldberg designed a way to make it easy to reuse existing pieces of code, and this led the way to programs like Python, Java, Ruby, and others. After this great success, Adele was approached by Xerox Innovative Board, and they offered her a chance to start her own company. Now, this company was known as Park Place, but because Goldberg was unfamiliar with the business area, she thought it wasn't suited for her, so she stopped that. But now Adele Goldberg runs a business known as Neon Etron, and she was serving as the president of ACM. Adele Goldberg really is an inspiration for women considering a career in computing. Thank you for listening.